small print just letting you know that even your participation in this is they are not held responsible for anything that might happen to you. Lastly, we have the Aperture Science Innovators Repulsion Gel, the #1 most effective dietary aid. Eat your favorite meals twice. Never guilty again. Lose all weight. None of the fat. All of the taste. And then I'm as light as a feather. Plus, Repulsion Gel is handy for reaching those difficult spots around the house or workplace. One simple brush of the easy-to-apply gel on any surface will give you incredible gravity-defying results in nanoseconds. Repulsion Gel tastes like science. Aperture Science Innovators withhold your right to have broken bones from high-velocity falls. So I think those are some pretty good signs. And you gotta have the classic Aperture posters. They add so much charm to the general atmosphere and will later be an indicator of how much time has passed. They also give us an insight into the kind of science company that Aperture is and their approach to the scientific case there was something I missed, but the only thing was this poster for how to correctly pick up a box and or heavy object. And just so you know, that poster is actually correct. You're supposed to crouch all the way down when you pick up something heavy. If you like bend over halfway, it messes up your back. So listen to that poster. It's actually probably some of the best advice you will get out of Aperture. Don't listen to anything else they have to say. Just that part is good enough for me. I like that you can see that this facility is not even in its best state so early on. Like, even this is supposed to be Aperture's golden era, but it still looks like it's a little rough around the edges. Like, there are mistakes even on this sign, this navigational directory that we see here. There are two levels, negative, or O1 and then OO, that are just scratched out because somebody put them there by accident, and Cave probably fired them, and then someone else had to come and scratch them out. Anyway, we are at the top of the first test silo, and we will be making our way down to the bottom on this elevator that Cave doesn't like for some reason. I think the elevator is very cool, but he wants a staircase, apparently. You know, the more and more I see of those Aperture science vending machines, the more and more I actually want to try the Aperture Cola. I just want to know what it tastes like. They probably have something in there really bad, but I'm really curious. I want to know what's in it. Let me know which flavor you guys would want to try in the comments. Are you a Speedy Sarsaparilla or a Repulsion soda type of person? I really love this reveal here of just like the visual reveal of the testing spheres and the Aperture Science logo sign. Just really great. Visually so cool to see. So giant, everything is so massive. And that's something I really love about the original Portal games is how great Valve is at scale, making these things science, so I think it's supposed to be unclear. But anyway, we're in this really cool underground little area with the toxic goo water. But I love the way that this place looks. Sorry, I got really excited. I really love how this place looks with the trees and the mushrooms and the lamps. It just is so cool to me. I don't know what it is about underground facility having surface characteristics. I think I really just like the aesthetic of like an underground facility trying to mimic the outside. And you know, the idea that Cave probably spent so much money getting those trees to grow down here. Anyway, it's just really cool. I love the aesthetic of this. I love like the little benches and everything. Like, I kind of want to work here right now just because it looks so great. Even though I know how dangerous it would be to actually work at Aperture. I guess that's kind of how they get you. We also see these weird floating spheres in the distance. I don't know what those are. Are they testing spheres that were abandoned, or what? Why are they there? Somebody tell me what those spheres are. I don't understand. So here we are in the kind of testing foyer, test subject waiting area. You can see these very nice chairs and ashtrays at every chair side. We see another picture of Cave looking very, very handsome in the late 40s, early 50s there, just in the test subject waiting area. Some more vending machines, some offices with some typewriters, some more posters about being allergic to antimatter. I guess if you're allergic to antimatter, you can't work at Aperture Science. Well, anyway, the big logo on the wall, some nice sign-in desks. I don't know what this room is, but I really like that it has, not only is the emergency exit blocked, but it has a sign that says wear your respirator on it. So if you're fleeing, don't go that way. There's all this big poster. I don't really know what it says though. It's too long for this video. Up the stairs we see more of Aperture's awards and accolades copied and displayed around the area. Some just another like a very comfy looking space, you know. Looks like whoever owns the place probably knows what they're doing, except for the fact that there's another emergency exit blocked by several stacks of boxes. It actually has a sign that said do not block, but whatever. I like this mug because it says I like work, I just hate my boss. And I just think that's funny. Because I don't know, just the idea of Aperture as an actual working workplace is just hilarious. The idea of an Aperture scientist walking around with that mug. I feel like they would probably get fired if Cave saw them with that, right? Anyway, inside the test subject waiting area, there's another award, and then another award that we haven't seen yet. Spirit of Idaho National Potato Board Award for the promotion of potato science. So I think that's really cool. Also, who is Crazy Harry and why does Cave Johnson keep listening to him? just look over that for now because it looks really cool. We'll just turn away from that. Anyway, we are finally at our short-term relaxation vault here. So let's just jump on in. Although I did want to say that I loved walking through the evolution / downfall of Aperture in Portal 2, and this mod handles that really well, I think. While the company is actively going downhill as time goes on, their technology does evolve, and we get to watch them become what they look like in the original Portal. And I just find that super great, especially the turrets and the portal gun. We really get to watch the evolution of that as time goes on. Like, while Aperture was still being this unethical and unreasonable and financially bad science company, they were still somewhat making some okay products. Like the portal gun is actually a pretty good product that does work by the time of Portal 2. So like there were some really good ideas. It's just the people in charge at Aperture couldn't really seem to recognize that. But either way, I think this mod handles that really well. I think the immersion is pretty good. And we get to see also with this short-term relaxation vault is the earlier version of the long-term relaxation vault that we wake up in Portal 2. I just think that's really cool visual storytelling. Anyway, as you can see, we have woken up from our extended relaxation, which is what I'm hoping you will gain from watching this video. Extended relaxation. We wake up very suddenly, and our bed has fallen out of the little tube that it was in. And when we exit our vault, we find that we have to navigate down across the other vaults to get the door, to get to the door we originally came in through. But Cave is still talking to us, right? So it's probably fine. The test subject waiting area has changed. They've added some really unruly greenery. The turrets look a little different, and there's something in the display case, including an early prototype for the Aperture handheld portal device. I love the design of this thing. Like, just to take the original portal gun and kind of turn it into this retro-futuristic 70s-esque portal gun is so great. The color is so funky and so in time, like in style with that era that Aperture made it in. Although it is slightly unstable, like mechanically or scientifically, there's something wrong with it, because I'm pretty sure the portal gun has like a black hole, like a mini black hole inside of it or something. So that's why there are so many different versions of it over the years, because it was really hard to figure out how to stabilize that. So let's read this poster here. The Mark 104 coming soon, Aperture handheld portal device, AHPD. Test 1 today. Join us for the future. Aperture are delivering what could change the way mankind travels through space and time. We're innovating faster than the speed of light. Yes, it's possible. We're eager for you to try this new technology. We'll even give you a whole $60+ for the experience. Aperture are not responsible for any loss of fingers or exploding, and then it's scratched out, so I can't read it, but exploding something can't be good. We also see on the wall there, we're past it now, but there was a picture of Cave Johnson looking significantly also changed in their style and color of the walls and floors. There's a poster of what to avoid, and it seems to be mostly government workers and officers. Although there is this really cool picture of what I believe is an early kind of security system. A turret, it does say Aegis in the corner. Is it Aegis or Aegis? I'm not sure. I think it's Aegis. We also see that a big sign has been plastered over the original Aperture Science Innovators logo, and the new sign says, "Welcome to Aperture, where the science is theoretical, but your $60 is fact." I mean, that's great. I'm not gonna say no to $60, but why is that what they're talking about? I don't think that I was taken into Aperture to make $60. I'm an ex-Olympian. I'm the richest person in the world. Sorry. Okay, so according to Cave, it is still the same year, just that some science stuff happened, and everyone who worked here is gone, and some future stuff has appeared here, and the building looks like it's been decayed and abandoned for years. But it is still 1952. Don't worry, I promise everything is okay. It's just that this whole building looks completely different, and some of the lights have fallen down, and a lot of the windows are cracked. And there's clearly nobody here, and nobody has been here for a long time. But it's fine. It's fine. Don't even worry about it. It is 1952. We now have propulsion gel. It is orange, and it makes you go very fast. Very, very fast indeed. Propulsion gel, propulsion gel, propulsion gel. We just connect these portals, and then we can fling ourselves out of this building here and try and find a way out, further out of this underground facility. Broke one of the windows on the way out, but I don't actually think that will be a problem. The trees are looking good, healthy. Those spheres that we saw in the distance have very clearly eroded due to something, whether it be the acidic goo water they are sitting in or time is unknown. But it seems like there's been a lot of damage. The path that was once here is gone. The parking lot that once existed is replaced with, I don't even know, machinery or something. And the elevator that took us down is visibly broken. And there's no one in the security office. So whether or not it's 1952 is kind of irrelevant. Clearly, we have to find a way out of here. So I say we go toward the doorway with all the signs that say keep out and do not enter, and in big bold letters, danger. To Enrichment Sphere, Bravo, Volta. On the wall beside the door it is printed the numbers 1959. There is also a warning sign. This enrichment sphere shaft may contain unsafe quantities of cosmic ray spallation elements. And another condemned, vitrification order 0615, 1961. Do not look at, touch, ingest, or engage in conversation with any substances beyond this point. These signs are both from the original Portal 2, but I thought I'd read them out anyway. I believe in Portal 2 when Shell falls down into the deepest parts of Aperture. She is in the 9th test these giant things makes me wonder at the actual structural integrity of Aperture's structures, I guess. Because I know that they were cheap. I know that Cave Johnson was cheap. But some of this stuff has actually held up. You know, granted it has been decaying, but a decent amount of it has actually stayed upright for longer than I would have thought, considering how cheap that man really was. Oh, that's cool. Okay, we're actually getting into the official testing tracks now. The actual testing spheres, and we can read out this repulsion gel sign, which is definitely from Portal 2. We get to see it in that one as well. It says, "Did you know? Aperture Science placard, repulsion gel." Repulsion gel was Aperture's first attempt to create a dietetic pudding substitute. It's true, the gel is a sweeter, slightly less non-toxic form of fiberglass insulation that causes subsequently ingested food items to bounce off the lining of a dieter's distended stomach and out his or her mouth. For various reasons, this product was pulled from shelves. So that's another little look into repulsion gel and why it was kind of discontinued as a food stuff. But again, when we first arrive here, in the opening sequence, people are still eating it. So, and just so we're clear, it says that repulsion gel is a sweeter, slightly less non-toxic form of fiberglass insulation. That's what they were marketing as a food to eat. What is so confusing to me about Aperture as a science company is like, why why didn't they just talk to the experts? And I guess the answer is Cave Johnson's ego, which actually would explain quite a lot. But why wouldn't you just talk to, like, if you really wanted to make a dietetic that people would eat, why wouldn't you just talk to a dietitian or a food nutritionist or somebody who knows something? And I guess, again, that's probably the whole point of this game and Portal, is that Cave Johnson and whoever else was in charge of Aperture had no idea what they were doing. We're just throwing science at the wall here to see what sticks. And I think that's just what makes me so fascinated and interested in this science company as a whole. It's just like, what the hell? Why? You didn't have to do this. You just didn't have to market repulsion gel, fiberglass insulation as a food to eat. You could have just talked to an expert and made an actual dietetic and probably made, maybe not make as much money, but save your reputation in the long run. Why? Why not? Oh, anyway, sorry, I got passionate. But that's what makes me love this whole, like, universe so much, is just, like, the stupidity. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you sacrifice so much for so little, I guess? Anyway, very, very cool. I do love the repulsion gel as a, game mechanic. It's a really great game mechanic. And, like, it's not even like repulsion gel would even be bad as something to sell. Like, if Cave Johnson was trying to sell to the military, he could have sold repulsion gel as it is. just not gonna help you. Anyway, that was my rant about Cave Johnson. I'm sure everybody else was thinking that when they were playing the game, but there you go. It wouldn't be so interesting if he wasn't like that, though. So there would literally be no story if Cave Johnson wasn't a kind of egomaniac. So it's okay. It's fine. He can be a crazy egomaniac because it makes for a very good story. So I guess he can be an egomaniac. The visuals in this mod are so good. We get to look at another Portal quantum tunneling device poster. This is also from Portal 2, and I'll read it. It says, "Remember, this test is unsolvable without an Aperture Science portable quantum tunneling device. If you have not received one, please find a test associate before participating in any Shaft 9 enrichment activities." I really like that they just change the name over and over and over and over and over again, until eventually they just decided to do Portal Gun, because that's the easiest thing to say. I did want to say that I really struggled with these levels when I first played this game, and I actually still struggle with these levels, like when I come back to play them. Often, if I'm replaying Portal or Portal 2, I can remember well enough what I did before to repeat that, but this one, these levels get me every time. I don't think it will matter how much I play this game, how much I replay this game, because I am always going to struggle with the levels here. And when I was looking into the game, just like researching it, looking at the Wikipedia page, I learned that it got really great ratings for like visual effects, story, character, like overall it got really great ratings. The only really big criticism it received was the difficulty of its levels. And then because of that, they released a story mode, which is actually the version that I'm currently playing. So before that, they only had the advanced mode, I think, and that looks really hard. So even still playing on story mode, this is a pretty tough game. But I do think that it being so tough makes it all the more satisfying when you actually do complete these puzzles. Because I think that's part of what makes the original Portal games so great, is they're so frustrating at first, and then eventually you do actually figure out what to do, and you're like, well, that was so obvious. But the satisfaction you receive from that is only made better by the difficulty of the level, I think. Like most things, actually very similar to, there's this kind of rule in cooking that I've heard before, where the longer you spend on a dish, the better it will taste, and that's generally true. Like, I don't know if you guys watch cooking videos, but a lot of cooking videos, I get a lot of cooking videos that are like, oh, these 100-hour cookies taste so good, where they make cookie dough and they let it sit for like 3 days, and then they add in all these things periodically until by the end they have this batch of cookies that took 4.5 days to make. And they eat it and it's delicious. And that's like the general rule, is that the longer you spend on something, the better it will taste. And this is kind of like, the harder a Portal level is, the more satisfying it is when you complete it. So I just thought that was kind of cool. And this game does that very, very well, to say the least. See, I remember playing this level before, and it's like, I know what I'm supposed to do. It's just, how do I do it? And I was also trying to like kind of get these So that will happen pretty often, especially if you are me. But that's okay. I die a lot in video games, but that's alright. I'm supposed to die. I've been actually playing Elden Ring recently with my dearest boyfriend, and it is hard to say the least. I've never really played a game like Elden Ring before, or like a Souls-like game or whatever they're called. And so it's just not really up my alley of typical games that I would play. But I think that the lore is really, really interesting in Elden Ring, and I think that the world building is really cool, so I want to play it. And also a lot of people have asked me on this channel to do a Elden Ring map, which I would also like to do, but I don't know anything about it because I haven't played the game. So, I've been playing that a lot, and it's weird. It's very hard. Like I said, it's not my type of game. Traditionally, I would never really play a game like Elden Ring, because there's a lot of fighting and killing, and I understand that that happens in video games, and that is a reason people play video games. It's just not really my kind of thing. And so I'm struggling with it a lot, but you have to get used to, my boyfriend keeps saying, you just have to be cool with dying. You are gonna die. Just be cool with it. I'm like, okay, I'm zen, I'm cool. Alright. Whoever was pretending to be Cave Johnson has now given up his farce, and we know his name is Virgil, and he is a personality core. A personality core. He says he can get us out of here, but he needs me to do it. So the goal is to go up, and out of the testing shaft. So we have to kind of follow the testing track to the top of the shaft, going through each testing sphere on our way up to finding Virgil. And that's why we're doing the tests. Instead of going around them, we can't really go around them. We have to go through them. There's this radiation poster we were just looking at that says, "Radiation need not be feared, but it must command your respect." Interesting take on radiation. Once again, the point of this test is to get the cube to the end of the chamber so that I can place it on a button and therefore open a door. That's kind of the point of most of these test chambers, actually. A lot of them you'll find are just about putting the cube on the button. Cube and button-based testing remains very important. Of course, we learned that in the very first Portal game. It's one of the first things GLaDOS really tells us about anything, I suppose. She says cube and button-based testing is very important, and I wouldn't doubt her, personally. I got a little stumped on this sphere, as I did on most. It's, again, I know what I'm supposed to do, it's just how to do it. That is the most frustrating part of most Portal games, of all Portal puzzles and games, I would argue, is you usually know what you're supposed to do. It's just how. For instance, right now, I tried to bring my cube through, which is what I'm supposed to do. It's just I forgot the emancipation necessarily canonically severely brain damaged. It's never confirmed whether or not Chell is actually brain damaged. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting that both of them have that in common, I guess, as they're both adversely affected simply by participating in some of Aperture's tests, or I guess a lot of Aperture's tests, not even by ingesting anything, or even being injected with praying mantis DNA, just existing inside the Aperture facility is dangerous enough for most people, especially test subjects. And I just thought that was really cool to, or I didn't think it was really cool, but I thought it was an interesting little tidbit, similarity between those two characters. Just by participating in any tests, you are, there's something wrong with you now, because you did something at Aperture, and now there's something wrong with you. Just because you, like, walked through one of their waiting rooms, or sat in one of their lounges, now you have a tumor. So, after completing that test, it looks like the catwalk to get to the elevator was broken. And so instead, we come out of the enrichment spheres, and we are in the kind of back rooms of Aperture, the kind of more sealed off test chambers, or test chambers that are not in the side spheres. Some pipe rooms, storage rooms, and of course offices, and of course lots of little details, lots of boxes. I like all the stuff that's just kind of been left around inside the old Aperture. And what I love about this game too is they continue this kind of pattern of little messages from Cave Johnson about vitrified test chambers. We only get a few of those in the original Portal 2, so it's really cool to see those expanded upon in this mod. Because I always want to know more about the extremely unethical and strange tests that took place at Aperture. I think there's one in Portal 2 where he says, we're gonna blast you with a beam that will turn 80% of your blood into gasoline. Every time I find myself asking why, I hear Cave's voice in my head saying, we're just throwing signs at the wall to see what sticks. Anyway, of course, now that we're in the back offices, there are active turrets that are here because it's Aperture, and why wouldn't they have active turrets in their offices? Offices. I really like the back rooms of Aperture. I think it's a lot of fun doing the tests, of course, because you can kind of actually simulate the experience of a test subject at Aperture. But I really like kind of navigating the back offices with the portal gun. I mean, obviously it's all developed for you to figure it out, but it feels more like you're just kind of figuring it out on your own. You have to use these kind of unconventional methods to traverse through similar to some other turrets I've seen at a different science company. There's another little science award for Aperture there. And this classic turret poster. Know your paradoxes. In the event of a rogue AI, 1. Stand still. 2. Remain calm. 3. Scream. This statement is false. New mission. Refuse this mission. Does a set of all sets contain itself? That's a really good poster. And in Portal 2, when we have to go up and defeat Wheatley, GLaDOS remembers this statement is false and tries to use it on him, as he is a rogue AI, but he is actually canonically so stupid that it doesn't even compute for him. He doesn't even take it in. It doesn't mean anything. And he just moves right along. He keeps chugging along. It's no problem for him. He's too dumb to realize that it's a paradox that should technically destroy him in a way. Also, I wanted to mention, according to Virgil, apparently the test we were participating in originally, the short-term relaxation vault, was one of the worst tests Cave ever ordered, which I find hard to believe. But again, I don't have the full picture, so it makes me theorize much further whether or not it was a short-term relaxation vault, because of course that doesn't make any sense. Why would Aperture want a machine that only puts people to sleep for a few minutes to wake them up? Because, well, literally, what is the point of that? That wouldn't make any money, but what is the point? Instead, I assume that the short-term relaxation vault was simply a precursor to the long-term extended relaxation vault. So again, like, kind of in the realm of cryogenically freezing people or keeping people in stasis so that they don't age, and you can kind of preserve them forever. And so my theory is that they just told Mel and probably several other test subjects, this is just for short-term relaxation. It's going to be quick, easy, and fast. And what they were really doing was studying how long they could keep someone in this stasis for. And then my guess is that they kept her down there and just forgot when they were, cleaning this whole place out. Just left her down there, forgot her with the rest of the test subjects. And through some kind of, again, I want to say luck, but I don't know if it's luck that is keeping us alive here. Through some kind of strange phenomenon, Mel managed to survive in that stasis for an undiscernible amount of time. And so technically, Aperture's test worked. She was in some kind of suspension, stasis for a long time, but they just forgot. And then, of course, a bunch of other stuff happened which would have prevented them from coming to get her, even if they remembered she was there. So I just think there you go, that's what I have to say. Oh yeah, there's these very interesting looking lifesavers with a very interesting word printed on them. I recently played the Half-Life 2 episodes 1 and 2, and let me tell you, I did not know there was that much in there. I didn't know there was that much lore hiding in the episodes of Half-Life 2. So I'm really happy that I finally sat down to play that game, to play those, because it really launched me back into this hyperfixation of Half-Life and just this universe in general. It's really actually what got me into, like, actually gaming in the first place. I played these games 3 or 4 years ago now, I guess, for the first time, and then I was like, wow, this is all I want to do now. I need to find more games like this. And then I didn't play Half-Life for some reason. I don't know. I can't explain the decisions of past Oven. But yeah, this game is just so great, and I love that this mod just expands upon, like, basically my favorite parts, and in my opinion, the best parts of Portal. While also, being quite respectful to the original creators of the game. So yeah, I love this. There's another Portal 2 mod that I was thinking about playing on this channel. I actually saw a comment about it a little while ago. There's another Portal 2 called, Portal 2 mod called Portal Revolution. And that one, I think, takes place during the time between Portal 1 and Portal 2, when Aperture is kind of in a decaying state. I actually love the way that that game looks too. I love the state of Aperture when it is kind of in between those games, and the way that all the greenery kind of comes in and starts growing in, and you start to see that Aperture isn't actually like this invulnerable thing. It just breaks pretty easily, and the only one keeping it ordered and in place is actually GLaDOS. And it's just really cool. It's a very cool concept. So I'll probably play Portal Revolution at some point as well, if you guys are enjoying this. And there's another Portal 2 mod I have that is less so. The thing about Portal Revolution and this other one, Portal Reloaded, is that they are not so much about, like, the lore of Portal. They're more so about, like, the mechanics and the challenges and the puzzles, which is also very cool. So we can do that for sure, but it's just so you know, it's less about lore and characters and story, and probably more leaning on the game mechanics and things like that, which of course is also very cool in its own right. But maybe not exactly what we're looking for here. I don't know. You guys let me know what you want to see in the comments. I of course want to make a Portal lore video. I'm actually working on it right now. I'm just also working on my Half-Life 2 lore video, so there's a lot going on. And I also just started school. There is a lot going on in my life at the current moment, and I just want to make ASMR, quite frankly. I like all the other stuff in my life, but ASMR is always on my mind, to say the least. Anyway, sorry, big long tangent again. Let me know what you guys think about the other Portal mods that I mentioned, though, or other Portal mods other than the ones I talked about, or just anything else. You know what? Just tell me what you had for dinner in the comments. I was being a goober about it, and I wanted this to work, but of course it did not, because it's not the right place. So I just didn't want to do it all over again. But big surprise, I had to do it all over again. Oh my gosh, who would have seen this coming? This is so crazy. So yeah, I had to do it all over again, but that's fine. Propulsion, propulsion, propulsion. Propulsion, 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 propulsion. Sorry if you hear me, my mic scratching this sweater sometimes. I love the levels where you fling yourself and then you bounce off some repulsion gel. Those are some of my favorite ones because I just think it's a fun motion to do. It's already fun to fling yourself and then you add in the bounce and it's even more exciting than it was before. Extremely exciting. So we are moving up once again, moving up to the Aperture facility, and we get to see this awesome example of giant things falling and breaking and just like the physics behind it. Look how cool that is. Oh, it's so satisfying. It's so cool. But because of that, now we have to find a way across without the catwalks in between, and everything is on fire. It's just so cool. Such a cool effect, in my opinion, that huge crane falling down and then it just like keeps falling. Anyway, very, very cool. Now we have to traverse, manipulate our way through across these pipes and across the spheres to reach this other side here, and hopefully it does not collapse in the meantime. There, making our way over. I love the lighting. Everything in this game is so cool. All the visuals are so great. And then we hop in the elevator. I mean, it came down just for us. Obviously, it's meant for us, but I guess in the grand scheme of things, it probably wasn't that smart to take the elevator. I can't remember exactly, but I think he might actually. Virgil also tells you off for taking the stairs, because he's like, oh, this is so urgent, and you're taking the stairs. We get to see more of the offices here. I tried to be cool, but obviously I'm not, so it didn't work. And then we see the main lift, and we get to see more of these back offices here, and we get to see where the scientists would have had their offices, and where they would have been studying the results of the tests taking place in the spheres just is when Cave says that they're not exactly sure what element the repulsion gel is yet, only that it does not like the human skeleton. And I think it's corrosive too. So it seems like they eventually started to realize that maybe we shouldn't just have this thing hanging around, and we maybe shouldn't be ingesting this gel. Maybe we should just treat it like what it is, which is a biohazard. Although if it is a new element, that is quite impressive. That's the thing with Aperture, is they're unethical and terrible as a company, but they made some interesting scientific discoveries. I love that poster. That's me when I get my $60. Me when I have $60. We get to see this new portrait of a much older Cave Johnson, looking very gaunt. His hair is thinner and he looks very jaded, kind of gray, very, very angry. It's another part of the visual storytelling that I love. Because we actually get to hear Cave Johnson's downfall in the second Portal game. He basically talks us through it. We hear him at the beginning during Aperture Science Innovators, then we hear him in the middle, then we hear him at the end, and all of those times, he sounds so happy-go-lucky and excited at the beginning, and then by the end of it, he sounds like half the man he used to be. By the end of it, you're actually finding somehow convincing yourself that you should feel some sort of sympathy for this man. And I think that's really cool. I think Cave Johnson is a great character. I can't even lie. He's really, really great. Character-wise, I would love to see more of him. We did get to see a little bit more of him in Aperture Desk Job, which is another game I should play for this channel, because you guys would like that, and it's Portal related, although I do think it takes place in like an alternate reality of Portal instead of this one. But we can talk about that. I'm all down for the multiverse. No problem here. That's another thing I like about Portal, actually, is the multiverse is very much canon in this game. The multiverse very much exists in Portal. It's just that we don't really go into it. We don't have to explore it. We don't have to see it. We don't have to have an entire game based around it. It's just that it exists in the background as something, and occasionally we will go into those different universes, but that is not the focus of the series. I have multiverse fatigue, okay? I am tired of every story being about the multiverse. I'm fine if it takes place in a multiverse or in a different universe. That's cool. But I don't need the entire story to be about the multiverse. Anyway, sorry, rant. Let's read this time travel poster. The Know Your series. Know your time travel paradoxes. Always avoid future self, your father, past self, and of course, Hitler. That's true though, that's probably true, you probably should. That's actually pretty decently sound advice. That's, again, another confusing thing about Aperture is, why do they have sound advice sometimes? Why are they correct about some things? I don't feel like these guys should be right about anything, but they are sometimes, and that's actually kind of frustrating, to be honest, because you guys are so unethical and immoral, but sometimes you're right, which is damn frustrating, because you're So I'm really looking forward to that. And I like I said, I recently played Half-Life 2, episodes 1 and 2. So now that I know more solidly how Half-Life and Portal are connected, now I can attempt to make a video on the connections between those two science companies and characters and stuff, and how those things are further connected, because I love that kind of stuff. I mean, I really, really love Aperture and Half-Life as distinct, separate companies and stories, and I don't even know, like, what they would do if they were to, like, somehow bring those two together, like, connect them. I've seen a lot of people who are like, oh, I wish that Half-Life 3 would be, like, I want Gordon Freeman to be Chell, and I'm like, I don't know if they're meant to be, you know what I mean? Is that really what's supposed to happen here? But I don't know. You guys let me know what you think, or what you would want to happen, or how you would further want these things to connect. But basically, in Half-Life 1 and 2, we learn about the Borealis, which is a ship that was created by Aperture, and according to Dr. Isaac Kleiner, who is very quickly becoming one of my favorite characters in Half-Life. I just like that he's an old man with a funny little pet head crab. He just means a lot to me. Okay, I love Isaac Kleiner. Anyway, sorry I got distracted. But he says, according to him, the Borealis simply disappeared one day. Even part of the dry dock that it was stationed in disappeared. So, and quite frankly, that's not that crazy for an Aperture invention, to just literally disappear out of thin air. It does make me very curious, though, and the reason that Kleiner brings it up is because one of their associates, Judith Mossman, is seeking it out. She's looking for the Borealis and has allegedly found it. So, what makes me so curious about it is why? Why is the Borealis important? Is there something on that ship that can help against the Combine? And now I'm really getting into Half-Life stuff, but it really makes me curious. Why is it so relevant? Why is it important? What did Aperture put on there? Are there portal guns on there? If so, how would that help the people of Half-Life? Because that's another important factor to consider when you're talking about these two universes. In Half-Life, the leaders of the rebellion there have only just figured out a means of a local teleportation around Earth instead of going through Zen. They have kind of managed to turn it around so that you can go around Zen and then end up back on Earth, if that makes sense. So I just am really curious about how the Borealis is involved, how Aperture is involved, and I also want to know how the Black Mesa or ex-Black Mesa employees feel about Aperture as an entire company, and what made them work there or work at Black Mesa instead of Aperture. I'm just curious about the whole thing. And I really like how I really want to know, but just like every other Valve fan for the past, 15 years, I am begging Valve to get over their fear of the number 3 and just make Half-Life 3 already, please. I just want to know what's going on. I know you have the answers, Gabe, I know you do. Anyway, while I was ranting sealed off the bottom floors to avoid anyone looking for evidence of their unethical tests. So those orders, we saw those vitrification orders about cosmic ray spallation. Again, it makes me wonder if those were real, if there really are cosmic ray spallation elements, or if Aperture was just trying to cover it up and that was their way of telling people to avoid it. It could just be that there were ray spallation elements and also evidence down there. I wouldn't put it past them. Anyway, let's look at this poster. It says, "Not complete. Don't walk through. For your own safety, keep an eye out for conductivity problems, or else." And now we found Virgil. Yay! I love that his little iris is the Aperture logo. I'm not sure when they changed to that logo, that orange logo that they have, but I love that. That's so cool for him. I just think it's a really cool little detail that they added in. It makes me wonder also if Virgil was one of the earlier personality cores that they invented. Here is a very cool picture that we find in this side room with the power switch of Cave Johnson with none other than Wallace Breen, also known as the administrator of Black Mesa. Shaking hands in 1983. As we are well aware, though, Cave Johnson famously heavily dislikes Black Mesa. So, he's probably holding back a lot of anger in that picture. You can kind of see, I think, his dislike for Wallace Breen just in that picture. But then that also makes me, I need to know if Wallace Breen has always been in charge of Black Mesa or not. We also get to see this very cool picture of a potato, and it says, "Hang in there, baby." Hang in there, baby. I like that poster a lot because it's got a potato on it, and I think that's cool. I love potato science. It's a very important part of modern science, is spud science. You know how it is. Potatoes are very, very important vegetable, very powerful vegetable, to say the least. Very, very powerful. There will be a week at my culinary school that is solely dedicated to potatoes and the many different ways that you can prepare and eat them. So I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on that. Seems like we have lost power, and like whoever it is that doesn't want us to be down here is once again aware that we are down here and ready to get rid of us. It says there's 1 organic and 2 mechanical. Makes me curious about who the second mechanical one is. We get to see this octopus poster that says, "Remember, ignore the advice of workers from other realms." There's some robot posters because Aperture was beginning to introduce robot testing. There's this rainbow poster that says Aperture Awareness Week 1981, which is very interesting. You know, they might have been unethical, but at least they were allies. I'm joking. We see this Borealis picture that says, "Notice, all Borealis team applications have been postponed indefinitely. Thank you. Experience prompt algidity of appendages." I don't know what algidity means. There's also this poster that says, "Don't panic. The pain was only simulated," which I'm pretty sure our pain is simulated. Our experience of pain is simulated. It doesn't hurt so you won't be seeing less of this. Let me know what you're interested in, though. You can also just let me know what you think of this video or of